actually start in full, we ought to say happy birthday for yesterday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I won't embarrass you by telling everybody how old you are, but it's somewhere between 48 and 50.
Yeah, that's pretty much on the mark. Yeah.
Did you have a good day?
Well, as you get older, obviously, you don't like to celebrate too much, especially as you're getting towards 50. But it seems crazy, really. But yeah, I did have a good day. Yeah, thanks.
Well, you're an ex-Reds player, obviously, but most people now will know you as Chief Executive of Reds in the community. Can you tell us a bit more about your role and about Reds in the community in general?
Well, yeah, when I came out of the game full-time at 30, I came back here to work on the community side, as football in the community it was called back then. And back then it was literally myself and 3 or 4 staff, bag of footballs, working in schools and promoting the football club in that way, really. Holiday courses, that type of thing. A very, very small operation. Back then it was player union led, and it was about getting ex-players back into football and to put something positive back into football. And that's nearly 20 years ago now. And to the present day, we're a registered charity. We deliver around £1.5 million worth of charitable work, working from anything from a child's birthday party, working with the police on antisocial behaviour, delivering post-16 education, working with refugees, food banks. I could go on and on. The scope of our work now is amazing. We have some fantastic staff, so we have around 35 core staff that work here with me at the football club, which, you know, they're absolutely fantastic, dedicated, and I suppose I've survived all this time by surrounding myself with all these talented and dedicated people, really. So it's like, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the playing side, and I'm on the other side of the fence now in terms of getting players to go into schools and support our work and what have you. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, I think it should be front and centre of the community, of the football club, really. And a huge amount of that work now is delivered here at the club. So you yourself know how engaging this place is for people to come here, and for the young people or the walking football, or whoever that we engage with, to be here at the football club, rubbing shoulders with the first team that train here, obviously, and what have you. I think that is absolutely priceless, and you know as well as I do that this football club is a community club, and for us to be delivering that is absolutely amazing. And of course the foundation of the football club with Preedy, and that was his original reasons for establishing a football club, was to get people into football, have a football club, and move them away from, you know, being in the pub and gambling and that. So, and today we live that ethos to the community. So
yeah, it's still predominantly football related, obviously, for obvious reasons, but you do so much work in the community generally. How important do you think it is to do that sort of work within the club framework? Because Barnsley has always been that sort of club, hasn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it's an opportunity. The football club is the focal point of the town, and I think Barnsley, like most places, have got its challenges. Physical activity, education, food poverty, mental health with young people's a real topic at the moment, and a challenge. And I think for us as a football club to be serving the community, trying to address them issues, for me, and obviously I'm biased, but I think it should be absolutely front and centre of where the football club needs to be heading, and it needs, you know, it needs to be an agenda that we need to address collectively across the football club, really.
But there's a great feeling in this town, though, isn't there? I mean, a lot of the players we've interviewed, ex-players we've interviewed, come from all over the country. You yourself come from Sunday Nashville, I think.
Yeah.
I'm from Nottingham, so I'm not from far away.
Yeah.
But everybody seems to end up in Barnsley and want to stay here. What is it about the town that makes people do that?
you're right. I've put my roots down here when I came here as a young footballer at 21. I've stayed here, my daughter grew up here. I think it's a unique place. I think it's bordered by, you know, Sheffield, big cities, Leeds. But the people have really got they're very honest with you, they're very humble, they're hard working, they're proud people. And yeah, it's just a real special place, and this football club and the area has been, you know, it gave me my first opportunity to cut my teeth in professional football. And when I came out of the game, it was here for me to continue and you know, with a career really, which, as you know, football players, as they come out of the game, that transition is difficult. So I've got a lot to be thankful for this football club and the area really. So yeah, it is a special place.
Yeah, it is, I agree with you. Well, Matt's going to ask you a bit about your Oakwell career now.
Right, okay, this shouldn't take long.
Well, we'll start off with, you started out as a trainee at Manchester United, where you spent 3 years. That must have been a good grounding for your professional game.
Well yeah, it was long. It was actually like longer than 3 years. I was a schoolboy there, and then I left there at, like I say, just shy of 21. So I grew up really in Manchester. All my formative years were there, and within that system I signed as a schoolboy under Ron Atkinson, and obviously Alex Ferguson took over. A quite successful youth career really. I played for England under 15s, then I went to United. I was youth team captain. I was playing reserve football at 17, signed a couple of pro contracts there. But yeah, it was I look back now and it was quite a brutal regime really, in terms of being a young player there, because Alex Ferguson, he ruled by fear really, and I've been on the end of a few roastings, and a few other players have really. But yeah, I mean, it seems quite surreal there looking back on it, but it was a very close-knit club, you know, although a big football club. Many a time I'd be in the manager's office. We always got Christmas cards. He knew my mum and dad. Quite unique, really. I mean, I can't imagine that's the way it is now at these big clubs. But you really felt part of it. You all ate together regularly. You were trained with the first team as a kid. They'd move you and say, well, you train with the first team today. So yeah, but you look at the players that have come through. You can't argue with the system and what have you, the way it was run really. But yeah, a really unique experience. But obviously I wasn't good enough. I've been to breaking at Man United. You've got to be a special player, but weren't good enough. And then I was lucky enough to get the phone call from Mel Mason at the time. He knew me from Manchester days, being manager of Man City. And John Dean was assistant, and he knew Steve Bruce, and I think there was some communication. Well, I knew they were talking. They said about all the players in the reserves, who would you take a chance on? And he said that I would be worth a punt. So yeah, I left United there and came here. Which the place was very different then. The stadium wasn't developed, you know. We had the brewery stand below us. It was, you know, we didn't have the training facilities. We had 2 training pitches. And to look at it today, it's just unrecognisable. But yeah, football was completely different then anyway. Talking 30 years ago, mate, Jesus.
Yeah. So you ended up playing 40 games for Barnsley, and only scoring 1 goal. Can you remember that goal?
I can, yeah. Well, we were in right foot for starters, because I played 16 years and I literally just stood on that foot. But yeah, here against Wolves, I think it was last home game of the season. I don't remember the year. I'd kind of broke in that season and made some promising appearances, even if I say it myself. You probably won't. Andy Rowell put me through, just below his ear. I just just hit it first time with a right foot really. Surprised when it went into bottom right hand corner, and I think any player, your first league goal special. But yeah, still got this year. Yeah, very special memories really, yeah.
Great stuff. So you played for 7 league clubs and several non-league clubs. What were your highlights of your career?
I think that season when I broke in here was very special. I've been at United all them years, got the opportunity to come here. I wanted to prove myself in league football. That season when I got the opportunity, I think it's still very special to me. The FA Cup game, when I went to penalties against Leicester, that was a special night, proper cup football night, windy. 2 great goals, one from Archie, one from Joe.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on the bench thinking, am I going to get on or what, all wrapped up, and they stuck me on. And naively, I always took penalties, I always took free kicks and dead balls. So they obviously brought me on for that reason, really. I think it went extra time. And that was standing, taking the penalty and slotting it in front of the Ponty end that was special as well. I mean, I don't know how the penalties went. I think Redders might have took one before me.
Did Redders
miss? Right. Yeah. Well, I remember thinking I was never going to miss. I think the penalties before me, I think we all scored. So I'm walking up thinking, we're not out if I miss. So there were no pressure, and it's weird because I walked up and thought I'm not going to miss it here. I felt so confident, and I scored. But yeah, that was special because it was back in 16,000-17,000 here at Oakwell, the old stadium. They're just great nights, aren't they? You know better than me. So that's a special period in my career, and then I got released here. I'd been offered a contract the season before. I'd not pulled any trees up at all really, and I'd been offered a contract, and stupidly as a young stubborn player, I mean it seems daft now, doesn't it? But I think it might have been 50. Arguing over 50 quid or 75 quid, I don't know. Sounds bizarre now, doesn't it? But I was stubborn, and I'd been offered this contract. Mel had gone, and Viv Anderson came in with Danny. And in all fairness, and I knew Viv Anderson from United because he played for Forest and I was from Mansfield, and he always took a shine to me and gave me a bit of stick in training and that. And he came here as manager, and I remember him saying in the office, says, "Bully, just sign your contract. Look at this," and he showed me a list of players that were out of contract that summer. And stupid, a 23-year-old, stubborn, thinking I knew it all. He would try and help me. Anyway, the contract wasn't signed. I went through pre-season, again, not pulling any trees up performance-wise. And I remember coming in one day, and John Benson at the time said, I walked over to the changing rooms, and my kit weren't hanging up. And Benno stuck his head and said, "Bully, Gaffer wants to see you." And he just turned around to me and said, "There's been a board meeting and we're releasing you." So I got 2 weeks' money. I was out the door, September. It was a really difficult time for me. I think my girlfriend was pregnant at the time. And I pitched up at Scunny. I got a 2-month contract, and funny enough, and again, my girlfriend was pregnant and whatever, I needed to perform at Scunny, 3rd division, and I produced my best football in my career at Scunny. I think ended up in the PFE 3rd division team of the season, which obviously players vote on. I think I went into double figures as goals that I scored one season, which is amazing considering I didn't get out of centre circle in most games. But I think when I look back on my career, I think I was always at my best when I had to prove something, whether it be, you know, in a big game, if it was televised, or I weren't good in a comfort zone. So, you know, I got a contract, or, you know, I was always best when I was pressured and out of my comfort zone, and that's when I proved my best football. Yeah, I was inconsistent really, and the best players, the ones that really make great careers, are the ones that are just driving all the time. But the period at Scunny was a really successful bit, and I got a transfer to Bradford. Chris Kamara's first signing, he took over there, and I got injured early doors there at, I think, my own debut at Valley Parade. I got stretched off after 30 seconds. I came on a sub, ran over the far side and literally got stretched off the other side, and never played. And then I had a sort of up and down football league career really, you know. Scarborough, Donny, played under Barry Fry at Peterborough, which was an experience. And then my last league club was Scarborough, and they went out of the league that year, which so my career finished on an high. And that's when I pitched up here with the community. You know, it's a real, and I played semi-pro for 5 years after that, which I kind of enjoyed actually. But I was working here at the same time, so yeah. I mean, you look back on your career, don't you? And I'm not one of them that stands in number 7 and says, oh, I could have been this, that, and the other over a pint of pale ale. But I was inconsistent. Yeah, I was inconsistent. You know, out of 10 games, I could look like a world beat for 4. The other 6 games, I might as well have gone sat in stands. So that was my Achilles heel. A comfort zone. I'm not good in a comfort zone. And you know, my day-to-day job now, I'm certainly not in a comfort zone. You know, it's this being heading up a charity. I'm not academic in the slightest, but that really does challenge me day to day. And you know, when we've got wonderful staff around me, a great board of trustees that are passionate about what's happening off the, you know, not only on the pitch but off the pitch. But yeah, I'm really challenged day to day on my job, which is I'm really fortunate, aren't I?
Very. I'm going to pass you on to Alan Nice and ask a few questions.
Hi Wayne. Going back to your debut in 1991, when did you know you were in the squad, and what do you remember about the day?
Oh God, that's a tester. We do set pieces on Friday, and then I think it's then that you know, the bibs are handed out, so you do a bit of shape play, you do your set pieces. So literally, it's that when you get the bib. So you line up against Redders and you think, oh, I'm playing tomorrow, and it's such a big moment in your career that. And I think my own debut was away at Oxford, if I remember, the old manning ground on the Slough. I think it's a bit of a blur, to be honest, that day for me. I remember as we normally do, we stayed overnight in an hotel, got up, had breakfast, and we go for the walk and what have you. And all the experienced players were really good with me, because it is a big day, and you know, you've got to remain focused, and as well in the back of your mind, you're thinking, is this going to be one chance? If I have a nightmare, I'm not going to get another chance. And so it's a big time in your career, that first, you know, your first league game. It is. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't remember a huge amount from it, to be honest. Yeah, it just went by in a blur, but it's a big time in anybody's career, that. Yeah.
Whilst at Oakwell, who was the best player you played with? And in your career, who was the best player you played against?
when I played here, Redders was still developing as a player. I think Redders got better as he and that time when I was here, don't get me wrong, he was a top player and a top guy, real nice fella. But the type of player I always had a soft spot for Ian Banks, and he was at the back end of his career here. Another great fella. But Banks, he was so technically gifted on left and right foot. He was someone I looked up to, and again, he had a great career. And so I would say Banksy for me. Just purely on that time I spent here. Yeah, and because of the position I played, I'd always say Ian Banks. Players that I've played against. Well, obviously from my time at United, I'd say Brian Robson. So, and when I say, and I keep going back to this, and often players do when they talk about players, it's not so much their abilities, but actually them as people. He was such an humble guy, down to earth. I remember when I'd left United, we played him in the reserves, and he came up to me, as the first to come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, we're getting on and stuff." Such a nice fella, but yeah, we used to play, being a reserve player at United, again, Friday when the manager was working on the shape of the players and for the Saturday game. So if we were playing Arsenal, for instance, I would be a midfield player, and they'd want me to play in the same mould as Kevin Richardson, and I'd be playing against Robson. It was, just a class player. In terms of what his worth would be today, I don't know, but he could do everything. When he used to break into the box, you just couldn't stay with him. He's just such a gifted footballer, but he was obviously plagued by injuries as well throughout his career. But I'd have to say Brian Robson and Ryan Keefe. There's so many top players at that club at that period. And when I first got there, the likes of Norman Whiteside, just just gifted players, And I'm very privileged to be in that time, really, to rub shoulders with these players.
And as a football club, in the last few years we've come a long way with our club, our ground, our past, our future heritage project, and we as volunteers have got a lot out of it. Have you? And is there any more projects in the pipeline?
We're obviously going to try and keep these interviews going and to give the heritage project its focus. I think it's been well received by everybody that's in the stand. I think it's long overdue. Certainly the idea is on the shelf about a museum or something like that would be absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's unique that we're still on the very site of when the club was founded. So much history here. So yeah, we'll see. There's lots of opportunities. Like I said, there's some real challenges in Barnsley, and I think through Reds in the community we can try and. We haven't got all the answers, but certainly in collaboration with organisations, across the borough, we can look to try and address some of these challenges. And I think the football club needs to be at the forefront of it through Reds in the community, really.
That's great. Thanks so much, Wayne, and keep up the good work with the Reds in the community. It's much appreciated by everybody.
And I would say, as you've come through the projects and you've been involved in Reds in the community, it was actually absolute joy when you were interviewing all them legends, your faces, that you could see how much it meant to you, and that's another example of what we do here at Reds in the community.